So what is the truth behind it all? What's really going on here? We're going to follow the science, look at the data, and uncover the real story. Let's dive in. Okay, first things first. We have to tackle the biggest myth right out of the gate. The whole idea of manipulation. It's a heavy word that gets thrown around a lot, and honestly, it paints a really misleading picture. Yeah, so the myth makes you think of some kind of cold, calculating mastermind pulling strings. But the reality? It's so much more painful, so much more complex than that. These aren't strategic moves in a chess game. They're desperate, impulsive reactions to just overwhelming emotional pain. I mean, try to imagine a constant, terrifying fear that everyone you love is about to leave you. That's the engine driving these behaviors. It's a frantic search for security in a world that feels incredibly unsafe. This quote, it just gets right to the heart of the misunderstanding. Think about it. When you don't have the tools to handle unbearable pain, or you don't even know how to ask for help, your actions can look really confusing from the outside. What might look like manipulation is actually a desperate attempt to stop an emotional freefall. It's a distress signal. It's a cry for help. So if manipulation isn't the right word, where does all this intense emotional pain actually come from? Well, the science gives us a really helpful no-blame framework that helps us understand the roots of BPD. The leading explanation is something called the biosocial theory, and it's a no-fault model, which is so important. It basically suggests that BPD grows out of this powerful combination of two things. First, being born with a brain that's just biologically wired to feel emotions very intensely. And second, growing up in an environment that doesn't know how to handle or validate those big feelings. Let's break that down a bit. On the biological side, we know there's a pretty clear genetic link. This can show up as emotional hypersensitivity, feeling emotions way more intensely and for much longer than other people. Brain scans even show some differences, like a hyperactive amygdala. You can think of the amygdala as your brain's smoke detector or alarm system. Well, in BPD, that alarm can get stuck on high alert, making the world feel like a constantly threatening place. Now you take that biological sensitivity and you combine it with what the theory calls an invalidating environment. This can mean really overt trauma, like abuse and neglect, but it can also be more subtle, like being told over and over again that your feelings are dramatic or wrong or just too much. The child learns that their own emotional reality just can't be trusted. And the data here, wow, it's just undeniable. A staggering 70 to 90% of people who get a BPD diagnosis have a history of significant childhood trauma. This is not a coincidence. It's a powerful testament to how deeply our earliest experiences really shape us. It's also absolutely crucial to understand that BPD is not a monolith. It's not one size fits all. The way it actually shows up can vary dramatically from one person to the next, and that often leads to a lot of confusion and even misdiagnoses. I mean, take gender, for instance. About 3/4 of all BPD diagnoses are given to women. Now, the disorder affects everyone, of course, but a huge disparity like that, it makes you wonder, right? Are we quicker to label intense emotions in women as a disorder? It definitely raises some important questions about how our own gender stereotypes might be shaping who gets diagnosed in the first place. And it's not just about gender. The way BPD presents itself can be totally different. The stereotype is of someone who externalizes their pain, lashing out in anger. But a lot of people do the complete opposite. In what's often called quiet BPD, the storm is all on the inside. All those intense emotions get directed inward, leading to this crushing self-blame and silent suffering. So instead of fighting against abandonment, they might just disappear to avoid the risk of being left at all. This brings us to a really important point about getting better, and it's something that often gets misunderstood. There's a huge difference between just managing the symptoms of BPD and actually building a life that feels worth living. So here's the key distinction. Remission, that's when your most severe symptoms have faded enough that you no longer technically fit the clinical diagnosis. But recovery, well, recovery is about truly thriving. It's about having stable relationships, finding purpose in your work, and actually feeling good about your life. As you can see, those are two very different things. This long-term study just shows that gap perfectly. So for one group, remission and having a job went hand in hand, which is great. But look at that other group. Over 1/3 of them achieved remission. Their symptoms got better. But their ability to work, to function in society, it didn't improve at all. This right here is the recovery gap, that space between just surviving and actually building a life. And this leads us to the most important part of this entire conversation, hope. Because despite all the challenges, The future for people with BPD is incredibly hopeful. Let's just be crystal clear about this. That old, stigmatizing idea that BPD is some kind of untreatable life sentence is completely, utterly false. We now have multiple evidence-based therapies that have been proven to be highly effective. Recovery isn't just possible, it is the expected outcome with the right kind of treatment. The gold standard treatment is called dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT, and it's all about building a toolkit of practical skills in 4 key areas. You've got mindfulness, which teaches you how to stay in the present moment. Distress tolerance gives you real tools to get through a crisis without making it worse. Emotion regulation helps you understand your emotions and have more control. And interpersonal effectiveness is all about building healthier relationships. It's really life-changing stuff. And hey, DBT is just one of many options. There are other powerful therapies that have also been shown to be really effective. The most important thing to know is that there isn't just one single path to healing. There are many, and the right treatment can absolutely be found for each person. So when you move past all the stigma and you choose compassion instead, you can see BPD for what it really is. It's not a character flaw. It's an understandable human response to deep pain. And it's a response that can be healed. The path to recovery is real. So the real question isn't whether healing is possible. The question becomes, how ready are you to start that journey?